everyone, I hope you're well. I'm Diana and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to go through my goals for 2025. Very aware that it is very late, but hey, better late than never. So these are all reading goals, but I will include at the end some reading challenges I'm taking part in, and also I will include a TBR. So I'm doing a year-long challenge with my brother Connor. I will cut through to us talking about the books on our TBRs. So first things first, my Goodreads story graph, just total number of books I'd like to get through in the year is 100. This is a goal that I've met for the last 4-5 years and I can meet comfortably. So for context, last year I read 170 books. So I feel like 100 is a good goal, that it's not stretching myself too much, so I can then prioritize longer reads. I used to reread a lot, especially when my collection was really small when I was a teenager. I'd only have a handful of books, so I would do a lot of rereading, and so I would like to make it a goal to reread 10 books. That seems doable. That's not even one a month. On the theme of 10, I would also like to read 10 subscription box books. I have a lot of subscription box books. I even got some Fairy Loot from like when I subscribed to Fairy Loot Young Adult box, when it just was the Young Adult box, like before the pandemic, so would really like to get to some of those. And then obviously I've got a lot of Fabled and the new Romantasy book box, so would like to prioritize reading those. I would also like to prioritize reading the books on my shelves and the books I own. So I'm hoping that 80% of the books that I do read this year are books that I own. Definitely looking to reduce my overall physical TBR. Speaking of that in particular, I have a challenge that I've borrowed from Win from Literary Divergence and her bingo board from hell. So I would like to clear a shelf. So I sort my shelves by genre. So my TBR books are mixed within my read books. I have 22 shelves on my bookcase. So I am going to get a random number generator and we are going to see which shelf I have to clear. Now, I will preface this by saying I am in the middle of a book unhaul, but I know that I'm going to remove my literary fiction books off this shelf and hopefully move it down to the furthest bookcase, so that way I've got books on the floor that can go up there. So whatever ends up in that space will be the books. But let's go 1, 2, 3. Shelf 8. Okay, what is shelf 8? Let's have a look. Okay, so 8 is actually one of my mini bookcases here, and it is, maybe let me just show you what that looks like. Ignore the shaking hand, but the fates, the random number generator just picked number 8, which is this shelf here and this one here, which is a mix of fantasy romance and paranormal romance. These are double stacked. So as you can see, we've got more books in the back there. So yeah, these two mini shelves here are the shelves that I am looking to clear this year. So thank you again to Win from Literary Diversions for creating this challenge. I'll overlay the books that are in these two shelves and then highlight which ones I have read, so we get a baseline of what we need to read. So as you can see here, there are 56 books on these two shelves, which I'm now regretting doing 2 of the mini shelves, but I guess it would be no worse if I just did one big shelf. And of the 56, I have read 22, which leaves 34 books that I need to read. There's a lot of series on here, so I'm hoping that may get around to kind of binging as much series as possible. So I'm excited to clear those 2 little shelves. All right, I would like to finish 24 series, which I think is doable. That's 2 series a month, and I do have a new video series coming to my channel, which I'm super excited about, called The Completion Chronicles, and each month I'm going to do a monthly vlog where I focus on a particular theme with the goal of finishing series. So I think with that challenge in mind, I should be able to complete those 24 series. Linked with that, I did get Hayden, my partner, to pick a priority series for me to prioritize. So last year he picked my 24 books in 2024. Didn't go too well because he just kind of scanned through my library catalog spreadsheet and just picked at random, and some of them were like the 5th and 6th books in a series. So this time I just gave him the series titles and he had to pick a few. So he's picked 7 for me. So the series that he's picked for me to prioritize are the Second Son series by Emily Rath. This is her Regency Why Choose romance. the Guild Hunter series by Nalini Singh. This one isn't complete, but my goal is to catch up to date with that, including any novellas. Nalini Singh's Rock Kiss series, this is her contemporary romance, which features a rock star. Wasn't a big fan of the first book, but I have since read more of her contemporaries, so I'm excited to finish off this one. The Plantagenets by Sharon K. Penman. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but when I first started my book blog, I was a massive fan and read predominantly historical fiction, and Sharon K. Penman is one of my favorite historical fiction authors, and I have read her Here Be Dragon series and Sun and Splendor, and I do have to finish off her Plantagenet series, which does follow Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine. I finished the first book, When Christ and His Saints Slept, but have been avoiding this series because each book is like 800 pages, so it's probably about time that I pick this one up. Then I have the If Love series by Anna Huang. I was lucky enough to get a review copy of the first book, and I just haven't continued on with the series, so I do now own all 4 of them, so I should prioritize that one. Then we have the Alpha and Omega series by Patricia Briggs. I love Patricia Briggs. She's one of my favorite paranormal urban fantasy romance authors, and I've read most of the Mercy Thompson series. I think I'm still a couple of books behind, and I have bought like 5 of the 7 books in the Alpha and Omega series, which is set in the same world as Mercy Thompson, but follows Charles, who is one of the like side characters, and his mate Anna. And then last but not least, we have the Silvercrest Academy by Casey Keene. I love Casey Keene. This is a paranormal why choose romance with an academy setting and has witches, and I read the first book, really enjoyed it, and great to have an excuse to continue on with the rest of the series. On the theme of catching up with things, I did apply for a lot of review copies in 2024. I think I had about 65 review copies sent my way, and I've got about 20 that I haven't reviewed or read yet. So I'm pretty proud of myself, but my goal is to finish all those review copies this year, along with any more that I get. So I'd like to keep on top of that. I would also like to buy less than 10 books a month. I feel like I'm already going to instantly fail at this one. For context, I went to a romantic affair. You can see my vlog, I'll link that down below. But I also am going to Babe and Rare and Sweet Love, which is happening in Melbourne. So I think I'm gonna struggle, but my kind of secondary goal is to at least only buy books at those conventions, and to, I guess, be mindful of what I am buying and make sure it's an author I've read from or, you know, read something from before. So I'll probably do like a try chapter tag for Babe and Rare when it comes to their pre-orders. And yeah, outside of those months, I'm going to only buy the subscription box books that I'm subscribed to. And then last but not least, I am doing a like book savings jar, I guess. So for every book that I finish, I'm going to put $5 in a savings account and see how much money I can save up by the end of the year. And then, you know, next year I could spend it on books. I could go on a holiday. I don't know how many books I'm gonna read, but it would be nice to see how much I can save up by the end of the year, and it feels low pressure that it's only $5 a book. So there are like my reading goals. So for the year, I am taking part in 3 reading challenges. So the first one I do every year, and it's one that I never really succeed in, and it is the Around the Year in 52 Books challenge, which is hosted by Laura, Zaz, Sophie, M, and Katie over on Goodreads. I will link that below, and it's just a fun challenge. The idea is that they give you a prompt. It could range from like, what have I got here from last year? Read a history or historical fiction book, read a book by an author from Canada, Australia, or New Zealand, read a book with a title that ends in A, T, or Y, you know, read a science fiction book, read a book that's won an Edgar Award. So it's kind of very broad in that term, and I've never actually finished the challenge, but it's a challenge that I'm okay with not finishing, but it's just something that I like to do every year and keep track of. I do have to update my blog, but if you are interested, I will leave my blog below, and there'll be like a section on the blog which will have reading challenges and will give you an update on how I'm going and in that challenge. The other one that I'm taking part in is the Romanceopoly, which is hosted by Under the Cover Book Blog. So I'll leave their website and also the story graph down below. So it's a bit of a variation. Normally they had like a Monopoly board, but this time we have this very beautiful map, which I will show you there. So I think there's like 20 challenges on the map They are split seasonally, or you could roll a dice. I think I'm just going to read, and then if something happens to meet the challenge, I am going to just tick it off. And there is some additional seasonal prompts. I think there's like 4 for each season. Those I am going to try and do seasonally, but overall I think this is just a really great challenge, and I'm just happy to add that into my overall reading. And then last but not least, I will hand you over to me and my brother talking about which books we are going to be reading for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. This is a reading challenge hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, and we've decided that we are going to, this is something we're going to go and do together. So I'll hand you over to us to give you our TBR for the year. All right, well, welcome back to...
Hi everyone, I'm back. No one asked, but I'm here again.
That's the perfect way to say
All I want is just one comment to be like, you're doing great, Connor. So I feel like every time I'm on your channel, last time I had a breakdown, and then the first time I was watching before, I started a fight with Taylor Swift and Demix. So
Connor is back today, and we are going through our goals for 2025. We love a little reading challenge.
So every year I bully Diana into sending me the rebranded Harry Potter one, and then every year I because actually one year I finished it, but I only did one semester.
Was it that one you finished, or was it the other one, the one that was like 7 days?
No, the 7-day one, that's when I was in high school that we did that.
Oh yeah, okay, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that long. I would say I'm still in the prime of my life, some would say.
Oh, I wasn't that long, mister. I start my PhD in how many weeks?
Oh yeah, I start my PhD soon. This is where the magic happens. This is all my academic books. That's a book I wrote. No big deal. Also, that does say the musical underneath, but if you haven't seen Dix the Musical, I wouldn't recommend it for most people, honestly, but I loved it.
Anyway, we love a readathon.
Oh yeah.
And this year we've decided to do Kayla from Books and Lala's Buzzword Reading Challenge. We decided to restrain ourselves because we did want to do both the cover challenge and the title challenge, but we figured let's just do...
Diana figured that I can barely read 24 books a year, maybe not push him. Which, like, fair. Because also, I don't have that many books. Because, like, ignore all of these, because these I read for school. I'm not reading any of those for fun. Well, it's fun for me. But I just didn't have most of the cover.
Yeah.
I don't own that many books, y'all.
That's fair. You own a decent amount of books. Yeah, and it was easy to do. So, hold on. I'm going to get my...
change all of mine, like, 20 minutes ago. Like, half of them. So...
Spoiler alert, I started the Tetris.
Don't talk about a journal. I have a media journal, and I'm in August of 2024. I'm very behind.
But how cute is that?
That is cute. You drew a square though.
Yeah, that's the for paranormal. That's the Tetris piece.
Oh, I didn't understand what it was. That makes more sense because I was like, you drew a square, babe.
Yes,
congratulations.
I brought them all figured out.
Yeah, I have a question about the reading challenge. Actually,
go for it. Yes, I'm the authority. That is the intention of the reading challenge, but I guess it's your life. Do what you want. Yeah. Go on this.
I feel like I have like sporadic reading moments. I feel like that's with like everything that I consume. So I'll be like, 1 month I'm like, I'm film only girl, and then the next month I'm like, I'm video gamer girl, and then other months I'm like,
how is your PS5?
Oh yeah, I got a PS5, y'all. It's changed my life. I had to stop playing it because I went back to work this week because like the week between, you know, like that weird like nothing week between
California.
Yeah, I literally was staying up until like 11 a.m. Staying up until 11 a.m. I would sleep for like 3 hours on the couch and then wake back up. So I needed to take a break from
it. Jason.
Yeah, literally. I've been playing Gotham Knight. I'm a big DC girl. So I had to stop. I haven't played it in 2 days. Gross.
Withdrawals,
but now it's like the weekend. We're filming this on a Friday. We both just finished work, so we can do it. Also, this is my area because I'm at home.
We've discovered the internet and there are other technological elements. So, you know.
It took a long time for us to get here.
This is a preview to maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do like a live thing that it's just...
We have had a concept.
We had a podcast idea to just do like random pop culture shit.
Yeah. I mean, I am starting a PhD in pop culture, so some could say I'm an expert. Someone said to me the other day that I'm like almost technically a gay historian. And I think that sounds a lot.
I said that. Connor, I said that.
Oh, was that you?
Someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone slightly close to me once said.
Oh my god. Whoa. Anyway.
So yes, you can do the challenge as suits you. I'm going to try and do the books once a month because I think that's a bit more manageable.
I also set myself an additional challenge, which is why I changed a bunch of my books.
What's your additional challenge? So I was about to say the challenge is supposed to be one book per month that fits the theme or the prompt.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I read a lot of books last year. I actually bet my goal. To be fair, my goal. But I was a little disappointed because at the end of the year, most of the books that I read, I would say like 60 to 65% of the books I read were like comics or graphic novels, which love, shout out.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I want to do something different. So all the books that I've chosen are either literature or poetry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if we're doing this challenge, this will be a good way to read more. I'm also doing some rereads because I couldn't.
Rereads are fair. I think more people should reread. That's one of my goals for the year.
Yeah.
I set a sneaky side goal, which is to read books, to pick books from my shelves.
You have all those books and you got to pick books you don't have?
There was a couple of prompts. Wow. See, I knew you would say that. So there was a new release.
Gouged my shelves. I don't know if that's a word, but I went spelunking in my tiny shelves to find a book that fit every prompt.
Well, I did. I successfully found it, and I'm mid unhaul, by the way. There's 100 books on the floor that I'm about to get rid of.
It's like a third of my own, including all of these and my art books.
And then there's about 40 books have to go onto the shelves.
Also, is this video coming out before or after your haul?
I think this is coming out hold on, let me refer to.
Because y'all, I got her the best gift this year. One thing about me, I'm the best gift giver in our family. That's not a competition.
My haul comes out, hold on, before this one. Yeah, this will be the video. I'm at
the book I got you. They'll see it, but like I want to be praised.
All right, so I got this possibly is one of my favorite book, or at least it's in the top 5. I've read according to my Goodreads, I've read over 1,000 books, so it's hard to say I have one favorite book, but it is this very beautiful Folio Society edition of The Song of Achilles, which thank you. I know you despise this book.
I don't despise it. Let's talk about it, Tiana. Let's talk about it. It was New Year's or around New Year's 2023, where we had decided that we would each read one of the other's favorite book. Now, to be fair, I did have that's cute. I had one caveat of Diana was that I was not reading any straight people. Sorry to all the straight audience. Love you. I have straight friends, but I'm not reading a book about straight people. So Diana was like, cool, this book has gay people in it. And I was like, work. And I'd heard about it before. And I was like, shout out, I'll read it. And then I will say that's like a regular size book. Show them the book that I gave you to read. My favorite book that I've read.
I will read it once. It's on my TBR. It is on my TBR of January. Can we preface this by saying it's going to be possibly one of the most depressing books ever?
It's not even that sad. It is the icon. It's a tiny, tiny book. It is the masterpiece that is Giovanni Zoom by queer icon, black icon, James Baldwin.
Yes.
I read your damn book. I finished your damn book, even though I didn't want to. Because I'm sorry. I know that I said that I was going to start fights on here, but I am. I have issues with that book. I can't get into it. But it's just really misogynistic and also removes all agency from Patroclus. I said it. That's all I'm going to say. Please don't find me in the comments. I want to come back.
I think, at this point, you're very upset that no one's commented about you. So I think even if they started fighting, you would appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll purposely start fights.
I will get to Giovanni's room. It is not one of the books, actually. No, it won't fit. It won't fit until September. So I will pop that on my list.
Let's get down to this damn list. We've been yapping for too long.
So we've got 12 prompts, and they're all to have. The prompt for January is Truth and Lies.
Okay, so this is a reread. It's one of my favorite books. It is Lie With Me by Philippe Besson. Fun fact, this book is translated by Molly Ringwald of Molly Ringwald fame.
I love that movie.
It's basically about this like French author, and he's in his what do they call it? Like his golden years, and he runs into this young guy at a book signing, and then he's like, "You remind me of someone, babes." That's my French accent, I guess. And then the guy that he runs into is actually the son of his like first love in high school. So it like cuts back between that. It is one of the saddest books I've ever read. It's also like, I would say this is like equal tide with Giovanni's Room in terms of like favorite books. It is so heartbreaking. Last year they had Cinema Nova, which is my favorite cinema, had a screening of the film, and I went in there. It was like a 9 a.m. screening. I took the day off work. Don't tell why I don't work there anymore. I got fired. So I took the day off work anyway. I went to see this film by myself, and it was me and this one like 7-year-old lady with a mink coat and a glass of champagne at 9 a.m. I love you, Queen. And then for some reason, whoever was booking her ticket, because she just like walked in and was like, I want to see a movie, that one. They booked the ticket right next to me. She did eventually move a couple seats down, but like we were still like, we had a connection, and it was just the two of us in the cinema. And it was the most beautiful film I've ever seen. It was a beautiful film. And I was very nervous because it looked like they were going to cut out my favorite part of the book, but then they didn't. And I was crying. Tell me why Miss Queen handed me a hanky. I was like, this is a real one. It's a real one. So yeah, that's my book, Lie With Me, and my little rant.
Kind of juggling because mine is a complete tonal change.
Well, they all are gonna be.
I'm going
nod to you.
Dirty Truths by Tate James and Jamin Eve, and this is a Why Choose Rockstar Mafia romance.
No, for sure. Wait, so okay. Is the Mafia also a band, or is it like the one person's the Mafia, one person?
It follows. So this is the second book in the series, but it follows this girl. I'm trying to remember her name, Billy, and she, growing up, had kind of two loves of her life. One who was the son of a mafia, and one who became a rock star. And she has broken the rock star's heart for some unknown reason at this point in time, and he decided to say screw you, and her name is Billy Belrose, and then he decides to
Billy Belrose?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, and some of the names in the romance books.
He decides to name his band Belrose, so that basically it's like a big FU.
Yeah.
And then writes this like hate love album that rises him to fame. So basically he's like, you've watched me go, you've like let a good thing go, and now everyone's going to know your name and you're going to have to think of me for the rest of your life. So he did that. And then she leaves the mafia guy, and we find out that her parents have been mysteriously killed. She has a trust fund and she doesn't want to use it because she knows it's dirty money. And then she's been basically living off the streets and homeless, and ends up getting a job for the mafia boys. Family freaks out, is there when a shooting happens, and then she's running for her life, ends up in a club, bumps into a very hot guy, and then ends up bumping into a very hot tattooed guy who ends up being the bass player for Mr. Rockstar's band. And now she's on tour with them because she needs to leave the state.
Yeah. That is crazy.
It is so much fun and a wild ride. I loved it.
And I'm sure it is a wild ride.
It is. Well, at this point, it ended on a really big cliffhanger, so I don't know. People have died. We've got rock stars. We're on tour. It's been a fun time.
Yeah. Shout out. So, wait, should we hold them both up?
Yeah. January picks. So the February is water words. So things like rain, waves, ocean, sea.
Mine might be a bit of a stretch.
I don't know. I just thought drink, puddle.
Mine might be a bit of a stretch. This is another reread of another one of my favorite books. Because again, I swapped them. It was a graphic novel, but I said no. So my next book is Swimming in the Dark.
Yes. No, that's swimming. You can't swim without water. I'd take it.
Thomas, I'm not going to attempt his last name. I don't want to offend any people. Now, do I remember what this book is about? Kind of. So, give me a. This book, I can't remember where it's set, but it's set in a Soviet or former Soviet country it's in Poland. It literally, I'm so dumb. It's the first word of the blurb. Poland, 1980. It's basically about these two guys. They meet at like a army camp. They fall in love, but then like through like the progression as they grow up, one more so wants to like assimilate into the like Polish culture and standards and like the Soviet customs, where the other one wants to immigrate to America. And it's a good book about like separation and like growing apart. It's gorge. Loves it.
That is nice. This one's different. I read a book by this author a few years ago and completely devoured it, loved it, and I have all her other books on my shelves. I just haven't picked it up. So I'm going to go with The Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. Now, she writes speculative sci-fi, which is totally
You don't really read sci-fi.
No. So I don't like space. Like, I know it's a thing, but I'm not interested in space, much to my boyfriend's
I don't believe in space. This is where you like come out as like a flat earther.
No, I know it's a thing. I'm just not interested in it. Like,
I don't like space.
So she wrote Station 11, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm pretty sure her other releases, this one and The Glass Hotel, kind of either are in the same world or she's created some kind of multiverse. And all I know is that it is set in 1912 and we've got parallel worlds.
Okay.
And we're following an 18-year-old who crosses the Atlantic, exiled from polite English society. And in British Columbia, he enters the forest, spellbound by the Canadian wilderness. And for a split second, all is darkness, and the notes of a violin is echoing unnaturally through the air, and the experience shocks him to his core. And then we've got 2 centuries later, a famous writer is traveling all over the earth away from home in the second moon colony. When within the text of Olive's best-selling novel lies a strange passage, a man plays his violin for a change in the echoing corridor of an airship terminal as the trees of the forest rise around him. And then we have another guy who is a detective in the black-skied night city, and he's hired to investigate an anomaly in time when he uncovers the series of lives upended, the aristocrat, the writer trapped in her home as a pandemic rages the earth, and a childhood friend in the night city who has glimpsed a chance to do something extraordinary that will disrupt the timeline of the universe. So it's kind of giving me like Loki, literally. And she's honestly a beautiful writer. And it's a signed edition. I randomly picked that one up. I think we picked one of our. I think we picked this up on one of our bookshop crawls. Yeah, very excited to try more from her. I think yeah. So February picks. So March's word is thing.
Mm-hmm. Now this one I only had one, and I don't remember when I bought this. Based on like how raggedy the pages are, I'm assuming I bought it vintage. Beautiful Thing by Jonathan Harvey. It is a play, which is fun because one of my other favorite books is a collection of plays. Love it. But it's a play, an urban fairy tale set in the 90s.
Really?
It's about 2 schoolboys falling in love on a grim southeast London council estate.
I was about to say
very
that.
Like young Mungo vibes.
Yeah.
That book, a lot of sexual assault. So, Diana, what is your book for March?
Actually, it is a YA book, and it's a book that I pre-ordered hardback years ago, and it is Bright Ruined Things by Samantha Coho. This author had written like this alchemy book set in like the late 17, early 1800s, and I just really loved it. And when I found out she was coming out with a book that was set in the 1920s, I just like added to cart straight away. So all I knew about this was that it says hell is empty and the devils are here, and it has a comp to The Great Gatsby, but I think most things that are set in the 1920s do. So we're following May, who's only ever lived on an island, living on the charity of the wealthy, who control the island's magic and its spirits. She longs for her own magic and a place among the Prospero family, where her best friend Coco will see her as an equal, and her crush Miles will finally see her. But tonight is the first night where the family and the higher society friends celebrate the Lord Prospero, the first to harness the land's magic, and started producing ether, which is a magical fuel source, which has revolutionized the world. And with everyone returning to the island, May finally has her chance to go after what she's always wanted. However, when spirits start inexplicably dying, May realizes that things aren't what they seem. And Ivo, the reclusive, mysterious heir to the magic, may hold all the answers, including a secret about Maeve's past. As May and her friends unravel the mysteries of the island, May starts to question the truth of what her world was built on and where it will take her next. So it kind of, I know it's a YA, but it gives me the same vibes as Catherine Arden's The Warm Hands of Ghosts, which is her newest release that came out last year. And she'd written this magical world which was set in World War One, and the way that she made the magic kind of believable as like an extension of what science was at that stage. I think it's giving kind of the same vibes. Like,
yeah, it's kind of like the League of Legends show Arcane, which I just started watching. It's fun. They also kind of have like science, but they made magic.
Yeah, so I think that'll be really cool, and it'll be nice to just finally read it.
Okay.
There we go. March.
Okay.
April, which is my birth month, is animals.
Now, this is, I truly know nothing about this book, but this was the one that I had to, it was my only option if I didn't want to read comic books. So, also, I picked this up years ago on eBay. I am, according to eBay, an esteemed purchaser. As you can, I don't know if you can see, I have a bunch of vintage magazines behind me. They're all from eBay. I've spent so much money on eBay. Anyway, I got it because I thought the cover was kind of hot. It is called Silver Wolf, which is basically like a gay cult erotic thriller from, I think, the 80s?
It looks pretty 80s.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a gift from like someone's friend. Sydney, 1988. Someone gave this as a gift.
I do love that secondhand books.
Oh, sorry, I can't read that. It's actually 98. So it was published in 1990. And nothing about it. Yeah, one of my favorite booksellers on eBay I think they're in Queensland. The Book Merchant Jenkins. Shout out if you're watching. Love you. So yeah, I picked this up because I thought it was cute.
There was a few I could go for because obviously I love a paranormal romance, and there was wolves aplenty in my shelves. But I decided to go with Sing Fox to Me, which is by Sarah Kenny.
How could you not choose a wolf?
Well, this is an Australian
come up in big bellies.
This is an Australian author who I've had on my shelf for quite a while, and it's actually published by Affirm Press, which is an indie press in Australia, and it's set in the 1980s in the Sunshine Coast and follows two 14-year-olds who are twins, Samson and Jonah, as they travel from Queensland to the backcountry of Tasmania to live on a mountain with the granddad they've never met. Oh, wow. Clancy is a beaten old man obsessed with finding his missing daughter, River, and he's convinced that she was taken by a Tasmanian tiger pack.
When's this set?
1986. So obviously...
I was like, we don't have those anymore.
We haven't had them in the 1980s either.
Yeah.
And then we've got Jonah, who becomes resentful and brooding. And then we've got Samson, who's thoughtful and inquisitive, become entranced in different ways with the mountainscape of Tasmania. And Samson, who has Down syndrome, finds mystery and delight in all around him, while Jonah develops a dark obsession as persistent as Clancy's desire to bring River home. And it just says it's a story built from lost and stolen children, Tasmanian tigers, missing animals, Down syndrome, parents who ran away. So I think it could be quite interesting. We'll see. Yeah. I don't read a lot of this kind of fiction set in Australia because I think I picked this up when I was at uni studying writing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Before your romance era.
Yeah, before my romance era. So a few of these books, I've tried to squeeze romance in there as well because I don't want to set myself up for failure. But
you can read romance. Sorry.
Yes, pick for April.
So next up we have May, which is my birth month. Shout out to my Taurians. And the prompt was 2 or 2?
Or 2.
Or 2.
Like no number 2, but TO or TOO.
TO or TO. So I have Ready to Catch Him Should He Fall by Neil Bartlett.
I said that's a nice cover. It's very moody.
Yeah, I love this publisher. It's like Serpent Press or something. I have a few of their editions and they all look like this pretty much. The one I have is randomly pink instead of blue. So this is like a republication of the book. It originally came out in the 90s. It's his debut novel, so shout out Miss Neil. So it's 3 a.m. in the city and in a dark corner of the bar. Everything's written like that. Wow. Two lovers collide in the beginnings of a passionate and violent affair. Boy, 19, beautiful, ready for anyone to take him home. And oh, the older man, cynical, unpredictable, and at the mercy of his personal demons. Their romance is orchestrated and observed by the owners of the bar, Madam, who looks after her boys and ensures that their heaven remains inviolate. Yeah, that's it.
I'm going with a series continuation because that's another big goal of mine, and it's a book off my shelves and it's something out of my comfort zone, and I'm going with a historical romance, and it is How to Catch a Sinful Marquess by Amy Rose Bennett. I got the first book in Bay Crate when they were still doing their thing before they focused on Fay Crate, and it was a lot of fun. So this is following like a group of girls who are like wallflowers in Regency England, and we've had 2 of the 4 girls, and I think this is the wallfloweriest of the wallflowers.
Whoa. Hey, I've heard there's some perks to that. Bit of a film joke for you all.
It's a book.
It's a book first, yeah. The film is better.
Oh, we'll see. And that is May.
Slay.
May. We're going to June, and we have memory words. So this could be like memory, forget. I can't think of another memory word.
Remember.
What did you go?
No.
Remember.
Okay, so I've been conflicted on this pick, but it's the only option I had. So it is
Recall. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of memory words.
So I have All I Love and Know by Judith Frank. It's basically about this queer couple in Massachusetts. One of them has a twin brother and sister-in-law who are killed, and then they like start raising their kids, which sounds cool. And I was very interested in reading it when it first came out. However, this book is half set in Israel, which I have an issue with, obviously. But apparently the author kind of uses the book as a way to like talk about like the colonial violence in Israel as like a critique of it. So I'm hoping that it is actually a critique and not a Zionist book itself. But it was the only book that I had that fit any sort of memory word, even if I was to look at like comics and well. So we have this tentative. I've had this for years, but when I started looking into it, I was like, wait a minute. So yeah, hopefully it's okay.
I have Forget Me Twice by E.J. Campbell. This is a dark Why Choose romance. I got this at a convention and she signed it for me. And I have since bought a special edition of it because I found out that there's 2 book boxes that do only Why Choose romances. And I think that is so much fun. I don't really know too much about this.
Pitch for a Why Choose book box.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a random book because we couldn't choose. Thank you. I'll be here all week, you guys.
So yeah, it says a dark.
No reaction. Anyway, continue.
So 5 years ago, Lexington's beloved mayor, Sebastian Grayson, caught word of my rare ability and lured me off the streets with a job offer I couldn't refuse. Literally could not refuse, because he was not the kissing babies or approving city planning budgets. Sebastian is ruling the criminal underworld. as the universally feared and revered gang lord, the Greyman. Now war is brewing, and my crew and I are charged with planning and executing the next stage of our empire's expansion and recruiting drive involving the next generation of local graduating students. The mission is clear: bring as many new grads into the fold as possible. Don't bother coming home without a group of budding young gang leaders known as the Rocks Boys. I don't have many memories of my life before Sebastian had adopted me, only a ragged scar and a spiraling lack of self-control. Now I find myself playing the part of a senior upperclassman in my supposed hometown. There is something eye-catching about these Rocks Boys, one of the reasons why I've personally dubbed them the Pantheon. So yeah.
Okay.
So we got
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
That was crazy to hear. I feel like we both chose very like kind of chaotic books for June.
We did, yeah, in different ways.
Yeah.
June. For July, we had punctuation in the title.
Okay, I'm not sure if this one counts.
You said that a lot, but go, hit me.
Yeah. I have Non-Essential Work by Omar Scar.
Just a hyphen.
It has a hyphen, that counts, yeah?
Yeah, that's punctuation.
I'm a big fan of Omar's work, his poetry, and I love his debut fiction novel, Son of Sin, which I think we bought in our Love Your Bookstore Day the year before when it was just on TikTok. The OG, you guys know. Anyway, so this is his latest, well, as far as I am aware, his latest poetry collection. He is an Australian author from Sydney. Yeah, I think it'll be good. And I like the cover.
The cover is fun.
And yeah, that counts, yeah?
That counts, yeah. I'm going with The Revival of Opal and Neve by Dawnie Walton. I picked this up on publication date. I know that it's supposed to be very similar and it's comp to Daisy Jones and the Six and is telling the story of Opal and Neve to their rise of fame in potentially like an interview style. Yes, it is an interview style, so I might have to actually get the audiobook because if it's anything Daisy Jones and the Six, they change who the narrator is for each book, and it's written like a very popular style that they use in like music journalism. I think this is supposed to set up in a similar way, and yeah, they seem to blow up and then end up, dying out. So Opal's a singer, and when British singer-songwriter Nev Charles discovers her one night, she takes him up on his offer to make music together. In the early 70s in New York, Opal is finding her niche, and a rival band signed to her label brandishes a Confederate flag at a promotion concert. She protests it violently, boldly, and violence ensures to set off a chain of events that not only changes the lives of those she loves, but be a deadly reminder that repercussions are always harsher for women, and especially Black women who dare to speak the truth. And then it's decades later, and they're considering doing a reunion, and a music journalist seizes the chance to like curate their oral history of what happened to them before that moment. And yeah, it looks like as interviews dig deeper and nasty new allegations from unexpected sources are going to even threaten the reunion. So I think this is going to be so much fun. And I know I'm going to love it because I love Daisy Jones and the Six. And I think this is going to be similar, but also have some like really important things to say. And I've just been keeping it on my shelves because I'm saving it for a
gorgeous cover.
Yes, gorgeous cover, right? And we've obviously got the ampersand there.
Oh, wait, sorry.
And then for August, we have With.
Yeah. So this is the thickest book I have, which I think you bought me this for like my birthday.
Yes.
So I have The Man Who Fell in Love with the Moon by Tom Stanbaugh.
Yeah, it's cowboy.
It is, yeah. So, between nights earning his keep at Excellent, Idaho's outrageously pink whorehouse, Shed lives a life of drinking, talking, and smoking opium stardust with his eccentric family. Goals, am I right? But soon he will leave this tiny turn-of-the-century town in search of the true meaning of his Shoshone name and in search of himself. So I believe this is about a Indigenous main character who obviously has like some country vibes. So he falls in love with a half-crazy cowboy, a man who talks to the moon, on a journey that will lead to enlightenment and understanding of the man's relationship to himself and the natural world. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I've been wanting to read it for ages, and this is also the only book that I had with, but love it.
I love the cover, like the juxtaposition between like the man and then like the hot pink. I think that's amazing.
Gorgeous.
I'm branching into my historical fiction for the next one. If you don't know me, I have like different phases of reading, and after uni, I really got into my historical fiction. Haven't really
Your name is Words of the Roses.
Yeah. So when I first started my Instagram and my blog, which has been like 8 years now.
8 years?
Yeah, I've been blogging and Instagramming for
16.
That's when I first went on Instagram, but I started it in uni in 2015, 2016.
15?
Well, yeah.
It's like 10 years.
Yeah. I've been yapping about books for 10 years. I'm still here.
We're doing it for you guys, but also for us.
So I've gone with Within the Hollow Crown by Margaret Campbell Barnes. And this is one that, okay, so backstory into the Words of the Roses. I am a big fan of the Wars of the Roses, which is the fall of the House of Plantagenet, which is the inspiration for Game of Thrones, but also was the medieval dynasty of the English throne. And this one in particular follows Richard II, who is a fascinating character, and he's kind of there at the start of the Wars of the Roses. And yes, haven't read much about him. I know that he was a boy king and kind of gives slight Joffrey vibes, and that he just believes that he is the anointed person from God. Luckily, his wife, Anne, really kept him in check. She was the only person that he would listen to. But unfortunately, when she died, he went like full crazy mode. So to the fact that his cousin locked him in the tower and he died of natural causes. And
no, of course he did. Yeah. And the security tapes just stopped working.
So, yes, it is going to be interesting.
I'm excited for August.
Yeah. Different vibes, but I love it. September is Event. Now, from what Kayla said on the story graph, or I think she mentioned on her video, it's supposed to be like, think an event like a wedding, a party, a dance, a game, a match. It's like a time-specific thing.
Yeah. So I chose Dancer from the Dance by Andrew Holleran. Also, they no longer sell this cover. Random side tangent. The cover they've changed to, the image is from a very famous gay photographer, Tom Bianchi, from his Fire Island Pines. And that book, I want that book so bad. And it is like $4,000 to buy secondhand. It is so rare. And they used a cover of the book, like one of the images from that book as the cover. And I'm like, come on, just repress it. I have one of his other books, bought it on eBay. I think I have like 97th East Street, like, which is like another collection of Polaroids from like, because basically Fire Island Pines is like a collection of Polaroids, I think like the 70s and 80s in Fire Island. And yeah, anyway, this is the old cover. So this is a very like classic, like modern classic gay novel, one of the most important works of gay literature. This haunting, brilliant novel is a remembrance of things past and still poignantly present. It depicts the adventures of Malone, a beautiful young man searching for love amid New York's emerging gay scene. From Manhattan's ever-end baths and after-hour discos to Fire Island's deserted parks and lavish orgies, Malone looks high and low for meaningful companionship. The person he finds is Sutherland, a campy quintessential queen, and one of the most memorable literary creations of contemporary fiction. Hilarious, witty, and ultimately heartbreaking, Dancer from the Dance is truthful, provocative, outrageous, told in a voice close to laughter as to tears.
That sounds great.
I can't wait to read this. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know if dance counted, but this is one of the ones I swapped to not make it a graphic novel.
Again, different tone. I'm going with Twisted Games by Eva Ashwood. I've really enjoyed her 2 Christmas novels that she's come out in the last 2 years. She writes Why Choose Romance, and this is a beautiful addition from Fable.
Is it like text or is it like a deckled edge?
No, it's text.
Oh.
And this is a dark Why Choose Romance. It's about a girl whose parents are dead and her adoptive mother is a drug addict. She's covered in scars, and the mean girls at school, I think it's at college, I don't know, have just belittled her for her lack of money and the fact that she's covered in scars because they're assholes. And she ends up desperate and out of options for money, so she decides to auction off her V card for a payout.
Okay.
Guy who's won it is some like brutal Russian bratva person, and before he can claim his prize, he is murdered as a bunch of guys come in to assassinate him. And then they were like, "Wait, who are you?" And she was like, "Who are you?" And then they kidnap her.
Oh.
And
Oh.
no, I don't think they kidnap her. They just stalk her, or she doesn't say anything about the fact that they killed this Russian bratva.
Okay.
And yeah, it's the first book in the Filthy Wicked Psycho series.
Okay.
So yeah, I am looking forward to supporting Eva Ashwood.
Yeah.
For October, we have Violent Words.
Yeah, so I chose Drapetomania,
Oh,
which is basically a old term that was positioned to be like a mental illness that explained why enslaved people didn't want to be enslaved. And I think that is quite violent.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. So this novel is very long. It's the longest book actually that I have for this. And it's basically about two enslaved Black men who are fleeing in slavery to, find freedom, and during that develop a relationship with each other. So yeah, that's my book.
I went with a poetry collection. I know, who is she? And I've gone with War Music by Christopher Luke. And this is a retelling. This collects the first 3 volumes of Christopher's retelling of the Iliad.
Okay, yeah.
This is also books 1 to 4 and 16 to 19. So I don't know what happened to the middle section, if he did do it or not, but I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like a modern day as like contemporary to the time it was published, or if it's supposed to be set in like the Greek time. I love the Iliad, one of my favorite myths, so excited to have another retelling, and also it'll be the first retelling I've had which retells it in verse.
So yeah, so it's around picks for October. Yeah, not a very happy month, but
not a happy.
I guess it's kind of like the prompt.
Yeah. And then for November we have Never.
I have Moonstone, The Boy Who Never Was.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, bro. I have Moonstone.
This is an Icelandic book. So I think this is meant to be like a surrealist book.
Oh, Sion.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He does like magical realism. It's very it's told in like a vignette style.
Yeah. So this is the only book that I had with Never, and even then it's like not really. Like very little. Yeah, this is my pick.
Nice. I've gone with Prince of Never by Lorelei Johnson and Haley Jade. This is the first book in their Cursed of Fate and Fae series. And we're getting back to my romancy. It says, destined to love him, destined to own him, destined to destroy him. One thing that stands between Tarion and his crown, a woman prophesies to be his downfall. So he expected a formidable enemy, but what he found was a human librarian, one who seems to have a penchant for recklessness and a serious lack of self-preservation, and one who poses a serious dilemma. how to take his crown when he can't remove the one thing standing in his way. And we've got Imogen, always fought to keep control of herself, control of her life, because when the world thinks you're crazy, you have to show that you aren't, especially when you're not so sure yourself. But when a Fey prince takes her to another realm, she's forced to face her biggest fears. Was she right all along, or has she finally lost her mind? And I love a portal fantasy, love a Fey, and yeah, it's got a fated mates, political intrigue, and star-crossed lovers, so sounds great. And, yeah, here we go. November.
Now,
and then we have December. Which is alliteration, which is one of the coolest prompts, but super hard to find in my catalog.
Yeah, mine's kind of weak alliteration, but hey, most of my choices have been kind of mid. Books themselves, hopefully great, but like the relation to the prompt, some of them I'm like, oh,
that's a stretch.
I have What We, there you go, Lost in the Swamp. There you go. So this is a poetry collection that examines the many manifestations of green. So it's got nature, inexperience, jealousy, burgeoning love, and exploring sexuality. It is a slow love letter to growth, to rediscovery, to finally learning how to speak the truth. So it's good. Also, I don't know if I said who it's by. It's by Grant. I can't read it from that angle. Can't read it from this angle either. Chemedlin? Chemedlin. I don't know if that's right, but Chemedlin.
Chemedlin.
I don't know. Shout out Grant. That's our dad's name.
Okay, so I've gone with another dark romance pick, which is a continuation in a universe. So this author has written multiple series. Just checking her, she's down there. And that is Evil Enemy by Al Thorpe. She has the Saint View universe. So this is the first collection within this universe, which is MF and not Why Choose. I love the teal foil. Like,
it's cute, yeah.
And all I know is that I think this is a romance between a stripper and a cop.
Work.
Yeah. I'm just obsessed with this foiling. I'm just going to do this a little bit.
Should we hold up our stacks?
But that is December.
Oh, wait, shit, yeah.
December. All right, we're going to attempt to hold up the stack.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to injure someone, most likely me.
So yeah, these are the books that we will be reading for the Buzzword Reading Challenge by Books and Lala.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out. So yeah, thank you everyone for letting me back on the channel. I feel so loved here, even though no one's ever complimented me, but that's okay. This could be the one.
Asking for compliments.
We'll do an update in next year to see how we went, locking that in. If we're still friends by then, because who knows. But honestly though, it depends how this year goes, because I might have many a breakdown.
We'll never hear from him again. We come back and he's read like 42 DC comics and he's finished the prompt.
Yeah, because I'm just like, maybe this is too ambitious, because I think I mentioned before, I'm studying my PhD this year. So I'm going to be reading a lot. Yeah, so we'll see how we go. This is aspirational.
It's nothing set in stone.
And if we fail, we're only failing ourselves.
Wow.
But yes, thank you everyone for watching. I don't know if Diana has more after this. But if not, I want you guys to leave me the emoji that's like the person doing the heart with their hands. I like that.
Okay, the heart, we'll do the hands heart emoji, and we'll speak to you soon.
And let us know if you also love dicks.
All right, so there you go. There are my reading challenges for the year. We'll see how they go. I didn't do terribly well in 2024, so hopefully we can have a better chance of a 2025. Anyway, comment down below and let me know how many books you are aiming to read for 2025. I would love to know. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. I'll be attempting to post new videos every Sunday. Linked in the description box below will be links to any of the challenges that I'm taking part in case you would like to take part in, along with my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I will speak to you soon. See ya!